Welcome back to part 3 of the Fundamental 4 series, where we break down the 4 fundamental routines within ritual design. And today we're going to be talking about the after work routine. So let's get into it. Welcome back to another episode of the Upgrade My Rituals podcast. My name is Kevin McKella, the host of the show, and thank you for being here. And of course, this is the show for stressed out overachievers who are looking for an ideal day, or at least to create an ideal day. So instead of creating 27 new, positive habits or healthy habits, they create this perfect vision of what an ideal day would look like, where they can actually work on their finances, their body, their mind, their family, and their career. And at the end of the night, their head hits the pillow. They feel great about what they did and where their life is headed. So, welcome back. If you are brand new to this channel, please consider subscribing and hitting that bell notification so you can be notified of every episode that drops. And if you are already subscribed, welcome back. So today we are going to be talking about the third routine within the Fundamental 4. And the Fundamental 4 are the 4 routines that make up and comprise the largest, most media section of ritual design, which is my system of routine building and productivity. So we're going to be talking about today the after work routine. Out of all the routines that we have during the day, the most popular one that we know of course, is the morning routine, the AM routine. And a lot of times you might have also heard of the evening routine, right? To set yourself up for the next day. The after work routine is a little bit more rare. A lot of times people are thinking about when they're finishing up their job and finishing up work, they just want to be done and just get out of there. They want to make sure that they just get home so just to shut off and relax for a little while. And all fair and all good. But the after work routine is like a little Swiss Army knife. It's a little ninja because while overlooked by many, it can be very, very powerful. So what we're going to do today is we're going to break down the benefits of what an after work routine actually can do for you. And we're going to obviously use my routine as an example, but then we'll talk about some other ideas that we can kind of incorporate into this after work routine. The biggest benefit that I believe that instilling an after work routine actually can do for you is transition from your job, or even if you're a student, transition from we'll use job as an example, to your home life, to your family life. And I say that because so many of us bring all of this work-related baggage, personal, baggage home to our family members who most likely have their own baggage from work, right? So what the after work routine can do is it can be that divider and that routine that you put into this place, this ritual, if you will, that we do that leaves work at work and gets us prepared to have a really good, attentive, focused home life for the next few hours. We spend so much of our life at work. When we're with our family, we want to be emotionally and physically present. So that sometimes takes a system to get us to that point. Another thing that we can do is we can leverage an after work routine. Another benefit that it could be is really a area that could potentially be a trap, and to obviously avoid that trap. So what do I mean by that? Well, for many of us, when we get home from work, we have this little conversation, or we'll close the laptop for the day. We have this little conversation, right? And the conversation goes like this. I put in a hard day of work. I deserve something for myself. A little reward, right? You know what? Let me just pop on Netflix. Let me just watch like one episode of the show I've been watching, because I deserve it. But then after that, I'll get right back to, what I've been doing. I got to clean the house. I got to do the laundry. I got to cook dinner. And, and then I got to work on some of my stuff for my own. Now, you know where this is going because you've had this conversation with yourself before, because we all have, because we're human. And what usually happens? What usually happens is that one episode turns into literally 5, and then 2.5 hours later, it's like 8 o'clock at night, and we realized, whoa, I didn't do anything. I'm starving. I got to get something, and then all the things I planned to do are out the window. So it's a really hard, it's a very easy trap to fall into, because the fact that, let's look at our physical state. We're really tired, both emotionally and mentally and physically, right? We're all tired. And we're usually not in a satiated state, so we might be a little hungry. So that also is skewing our decision making. And we just may be tired, right? So all of these things that are happening are, without a routine, are leading us down a really bad path that could set our evening up for a complete failure. The last thing I think that we can really leverage our after work routine for is getting ahead. Because while what I just explained to you is actually a trap, it's actually dead time. Because if you fall into a trap of watching even 3 episodes of something, right? 3 half-hour episodes, that's an hour and a half long. So an hour and a half that can be thrown away by TV. Now, that hour and a half, from Monday through Friday, even just the weekdays, if you leverage that hour and a half for something in your life, whatever it may be, working out, working on your side business, trying to get that new job, trying to put up that fence you've been telling yourself you're going to be putting up for the last 3 years, whatever it is, if you are able to look at that hour and a half and say, this is dead time here. If I find myself just lounging in this time, maybe we can use that. Before I go on and talk about the elements of, say, my routine, I want to just put a caveat in here. Relaxing is totally okay. You're allowed to relax. I just made it sound like you shouldn't have ever an hour and a half of time to relax. I don't think that's, I think that's totally okay. It's also totally subjective to what you want to do in your life. If you are completely happy and you get home at 5:30 and you pop on a headset and you go gaming for the next 7 hours, I'm so happy for you. Like, as long as you're happy and your other people around you are happy, mazel tov. I think, though, we have to be very strategic about how we use that time to relax and when we want to actually plan that out. I know it seems like a little intense to plan the times that you want to relax, but through being super disciplined, you actually are liberated. Through being really regimented, you actually experience complete freedom, because first of all, you don't have to have the battle in your mind of, I should be really working on this business, but I just want to chill. I told myself I'm going to relax on the couch. And, we don't have to have that argument. So there's some real great mental stress that is off our plate. Also, when you know that you're going to have that hour and a half at the end of the night, then it's almost like a game with yourself. It's like, all right, if I cruise to, I'm going to use that time to relax, and I'm going to have such a better time to relax because I know I nailed this day. It's kind of exactly what we talk about every episode, right? Designing the ideal day. If you get to that point and you can chill and feel really good about what you've already done, it's the best feeling in the world. So, that's kind of what I think you should really think about when you're planning your after-work routine. Now, there's one last thing I think we can use the after-work routine for, and this could be maybe just a really simple thing that you might want to use. I think it's a good opportunity to look at our clog. Now, this is another part of ritual design that we're not talking about in this 4-part little series here, but the clog is ultimately the thing that completely halts and stops the momentum of all 4 of these routines. So for me, I'll give you my first example, I know it's so silly, but it's the dishes. The dishes have been my clog for many years because it's something that is so, yet silly, it is so it builds on itself. Because again, if I start my workday and I have some dishes in there from like the morning, my wife has an English muffin or something, and I have some coffee dish, whatever, right? Have some in there, and then like comes time at the end of the day, the after work routine, right? I can use that time to kind of bang out those dishes and get a clean sink before I start cooking, because now I'm going to add a whole bunch more. But if I don't, what happens is this sink starts to build up and build up and build up. And then at the end of the night, I told myself I'm going to have a PM routine and I'm going to do certain things for my, after 9 o'clock at night. I can't, because I got to spend 26 minutes cleaning the damn kitchen. I digress. We're going off on a tangent, but the after work routine could be used for a time to get ahead on whatever your clog may be. So I'll take you through some of my previous after work routines as well as my current one, so you can give you some context. By the way, something I didn't mention is that this can also, just like the before work routine, if you haven't watched that episode from last week, I'll leave a link right here. That is something that will kind of be a little bit of a bookend to this routine, because you can do some of the tasks at actually your job. If you do commute and you actually go into the office or whatever, you can use the after work routine at work, or you can use it at home, or you can do a combination of both. So the after work routine could simply be, okay, get to inbox 0. That could be part of your work routine. It could be, clear your desk, right? Just make sure everything is filed away in your capture systems or whatever. And again, it could be a combination of, okay, I'm going to do a little 2-minute breathing exercise when I get into my car, because I'm going to deal with rush hour traffic going home and I don't want to deal with road rage, whatever, right? So you can really use the after work routine both at the office and at home, and or a combination of both. But I'll give you some context into my routine. So for a while, it was wrapping up my workday. So my previous job, I was working at as a outside sales rep for a digital marketing company. So I would be out and about. I'd be talking with business owners. I'd have a lot of things that I had to actually tie up. So my entire after work routine was really cleaning up my my day's tasks. So whatever I had to do, and then kind of setting the next day's day up. So I'd be pulling my prospecting list, I'd be writing emails or whatever it is. So that, at one point in my life, it was primarily used around work. Recently, since we had a baby, it's changed. So when we first had Quinn, she's already almost a year. That's crazy. When we first had her, the scheduling was so nuts. She was, sleeping she was not sleeping. So I used to work out in the morning, and that had to change, because anytime I had to, if I was up literally half the night, if I got 4 hours of sleep, I knew I could hustle through and get up and work out in the morning, but I knew that would be a recipe for disaster, because I'd get run down and I would need my sleep. I'm a person who completely needs sleep, at least 7.5 hours. So what happened was the after work routine became my workout. That was my whole routine, right? And now what it is today is a little bit different. It is a combination of a few things. One, it is actually meditating. So my meditation used to be in my morning routine, but I've come to a point where I do not have enough time in the morning to fit it in. So I strategically put that in my after work routine as a kind of a release of the day's work stuff, and a transition into my family world. It acts as that transition period. And then my second half of the after work routine is to do a little bit of work for the business that you're literally watching. And so for Upgrade, part of that is to post on my short form channels. So like if I'm going to put out content on TikTok, on YouTube Shorts, on Instagram Reels, those short videos that you see from me, these clips of actually this show, that's the time I post that, because I can't automate that, so I have to do that by hand. And that's another thing of its own that's a very important part of my business that I have to be very consistent with. So it has to fall in a routine somewhere. And there's literally kind of no other time in the day to do it. So the after work routine is perfect. So I just do my meditation and I do like my short form posting, and that's it. It's literally takes me about 25 minutes to a half an hour, depending on how long I want to meditate for. And literally, it's that easy. It's just two things. So as you watch my previous episode, the before work routine, my before work routine is very easy. Again, part of that is also processing emails that I didn't really go into too much, but for my after work routine is exactly the same. It's a very easy bookend. It ties up the day strategically by meditating, and then I use that dead time. Well, not dead time, but I use that little bit of extra time that I could kind of do something with to do something very important for the business. To wrap up, to kind of come full circle and say, why is this? I mean, this sounds intense. What happens after that? Well, it kind of is intense. My life is a little bit crazy. I am daddy daycare all day long while working. And, that's coming after the morning routine and the before work routine. I do the after work routine as soon as Ashley comes home and gets out of the shower and takes Quinn. And then usually right after that, I start cooking. And we have dinner around 7:30, 8, kind of right when Ashley's putting Quinn to bed, which is, it's going to be a while till she has a hot meal. And sometimes it works. After that actually is my PM routine. Now, I'm not going to go into the PM routine, but I'm going to just add one extra thing that I didn't touch on the after work routine, the AW. There is one thing that we can do, and if you have the planner, if you have the ritual design planner, you know about block time. Also, you may just know about block time. Block time is as simple as it sounds. You're literally blocking time out to do something, whatever that may be. You're just blocking that out to try to get those tasks accomplished within that time. So the after work routine, or any routine for that matter, you could implement some block time. So out of all the routines I had, before I had a kid, I used to have more block time within my routines, but now they're specifically for me, my personal growth as a human being, except the PM routine. The PM routine, part of that is actually a big chunk working on upgrade. So working on upgrade from about 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock at night, that's my block time. 8 o'clock to, 9:50. That's my block time. So you can certainly do that with the after work routine. If you find yourself that the nights are really busy and at the end of the night you just want to chill, which is totally fine again, and you want to get some strategic work done on something. Like I said, it could be something around the house. It could be your side business. It could be anything. You may want to instill a period of block time in that AW routine, so you know that, okay, at 6 o'clock, right before I start cooking dinner, I'm going to do the after work routine. I'm going to take a brisk walk around the block to kind of mentally reset, do a little breathing exercise, whatever, and then I will work on the basement, putting down my new floor. I'm looking at what it's just using very, very meta here today. So that is a fairly quick look at the after work routine. There's nothing too fancy about it, but it is very important. It's a very important, I think the most important factor is transitioning from work to home, both, again, emotionally and physically. Because if you don't physically reset, let alone emotional, if you don't physically reset, you're at a long day, right? There could be something that you can do. You can make a really special kind of, cup of coffee, maybe a bulletproof coffee or something. You can do, again, if you've never done any type of deep breathing, doing 2 minutes of deep breathing, you will feel a completely different human being and actually be able to leverage that time to then get something done. So that is the AW routine. It's a really important one. It's often overlooked because of our busy, hectic lifestyles, and most people think, I can't do that. Try it. Try something small, little micro routine, because the more consistent you are with it, the more you'll find time will actually open up, and you can fill a couple more things in there with as time goes on. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. I know I did. I think this series is really important, and I hope you're enjoying them. If you like this video, please actually hit the like button, and of course consider subscribing if you aren't. Hit that bell notification to be notified next episode. And if you are implementing an after work routine, I would love to hear about it. I would love to hear what you're actually implementing. And if you aren't, then I want to hear what you're going to do. What are you going to use this little sliver of time between, say, 5 o'clock to 7:30 or 5 to 6:30, whatever it may be? What are you going to actually leverage in that time? I want to hear it in the comments below. That would be awesome. So thank you so much for listening to today's episode, and I will see you next week for the PM routine right here on the Upgrade My Rituals podcast.